everyone. It has been a while since I sat down to make a Bible story video, so I decided I would make one today. My plan is to keep making them and uploading them, so stay tuned for those. We are going to continue learning about heroes of the Bible, and this week we're learning about a young dreamer. Jacob had many children, but Joseph was his favorite. Even though Jacob had 11 other sons, he gave Joseph a beautiful, very special coat. Joseph's brothers didn't like him. They thought he was a tattletale. He had dreams in which his brothers served him and bowed to him. One day when Joseph was out in the fields helping take care of the goats, his brothers grabbed him and threw him in a deep pit. They were going to leave him there to die. But some slave traders were passing by, going to Egypt, so they took him and sold him instead. Joseph's brothers ripped his coat and dipped it in blood and showed it to their father. Joseph must have been eaten by wild animals, Jacob said. He was very sad. Meanwhile, Joseph became the slave of a wealthy man in Egypt. Joseph was a good worker and became the chief servant, but he was accused of a crime by his master's wife and sent to jail. There, too, he was trusted and put in charge. Then the king of Egypt, Pharaoh, had a troubling dream. Someone remembered that Joseph could tell people what their dreams meant, so Pharaoh sent for Joseph in jail. Joseph told the Pharaoh what the dream meant. For 7 years there would be lots of food, but after that there would be 7 years of very little. The crops would fail and there would be no rain. This is called a famine. Someone should gather food now and save it for later, Joseph said. The Pharaoh liked the idea. He liked Joseph too, so he put Joseph in charge of the whole country. Years later, the famine did come to Egypt and lots of other countries too. Joseph's brothers heard that there was food in Egypt. They went there to buy bags of grain, not knowing that their brother had become the governor. When they met him, they didn't even recognize him. He knew them, though. He asked them questions about their father. He sold them food. Then he took one of his brothers prisoner and told the rest of them not to come back without their little brother. They were afraid and didn't want to come back, but they needed food and finally did return, and they brought their little brother with them. When Joseph saw his little brother Benjamin, he broke down and cried. He told his brothers who he was and forgave them. God sent me here to save lives, he said. His brothers were amazed. They went home to get their father, and they all returned to Egypt, where Joseph took care of them. Jacob was very happy. I can see my son before I die, he said. Food facts. For the first 7 years that Joseph was ruler in Egypt, he collected 1/5 of all the grain and stored it in granaries, much like modern silos. When the famine came, he was able to feed the people by trading them food for their land. Eventually, the Pharaoh owned almost all the land. Jacob's blessing. Before Jacob died, he gathered his sons together and blessed them, telling a little bit about the future of each family. His sons would become the 12 tribes of Israel. Except for the family of Levi, the sons' families would each receive a portion of the land God had promised Abraham. Levi's family would become the priests and keepers of the temple. After Jacob died, his sons returned to Canaan to bury him, and then they went back to Egypt. A king's ring. When Pharaoh made Joseph ruler over Egypt, he put a gold chain around his neck and had him dressed in fine white linen. He also gave him his gold signet ring. The signet ring was used to stamp the Pharaoh's signature in wax. This made letters and orders official. Even though few people could read and write, everyone recognized the Pharaoh's stamp. Well, I hope you enjoyed and learned something, and I will see you for the next one. And as always, you are invited to Sunday school at Pasco Community Baptist Church at 10 o'clock on Sundays.